Howdy. It's been almost a month since I made a video. I'm sorry. I got really into hockey over the past couple months, and it's taking up a lot of time watching the Wings just be great. So I wanted to just kind of come on here and just talk a little bit. So I thought I'd get a stack of books ready and talk to you guys about books that I'm hoping to read this year. I'm a very moody reader, so it's kind of like it's just whatever I'm feeling in the moment when it comes to picking another book. That's typically like what I pick and what I go for, and that goes for a lot of different things. It goes for like book size or topic or stuff like that. So I made a little like YouTube short of big books I want to read. I still want to get to those, but and I'm certainly overshooting how much I can actually read, but I have another stack of books here that I would like to get to this year, ideally. And maybe at the end of the year, when I wrap up and make a video about everything I read this year, I guess it'll be fun to see what I actually ended up reading. So yeah, my current read right now is Musashi by Eiji Yoshikawa. I finished Lonesome Dove and went into kind of a reading slump. And I think maybe a good thing in a reading slump is to go to something that is kind of familiar. I tried Lord of the Rings, but I'm just, like, I hate saying it. I'm a little sick of that story. I've read the books so many times and watched the movies millions of times. So it wasn't really doing it for me. So after about a week of kind of slogging along through The Two Towers, I just picked this up off the shelf and started reading it. And it's been really, really great so far. I haven't read anything in the Japanese kind of literature market since about this time last year, to be honest. So it's been really good. For those of you who don't know, I got into reading because of manga, which is Japanese comic books essentially, and there is a very popular one called Vagabond, and I read that last year around the same time, and I'm gonna have some B-roll up on the screen for you, so you can see, and I just really loved that story. I loved everything about Musashi, his character, kind of this journey of finding what is essentially true strength, and it's not just muscle, and his struggles with learning these things. And certainly that manga deviates a little bit from what I've read in this book, but there is still a ton of similarities, so it is familiar yet new enough where it is really keeping my interest in. The past week I've read 250 pages, which I think is a pretty solid pace for reading this. I'm just loving it. So, and it's a fat book. I got into this kind of mood last year where I just read one really big book and then I felt kind of sad or bored after, in a sense. So then I just wanted to read another big book, you know what I mean? So just hopping from big book to big book. So we will see if that happens this year. But yeah, this is my current read, Musashi by Eiji Yoshikawa. So the books I have here are in no particular order in importance of wanting to read them. These are all things, obviously, if you buy a book and you're interested in what it is, but these are all books that kind of, I would say, sit kind of up on my interest, at least of the recording of this video. My interests are subject to change every 2 to 4 weeks. So yeah, we'll get into it. First up, I have Paradise Lost by John Milton. It's an epic poem. I'm sure everyone knows about this. It's about the fall of man from the Bible in Genesis, but it's kind of from this perspective of Satan and everything that goes down. I'm really interested in this. I love these old biblical poems, like Dante's Paradise or Comedy, the Divine Comedy and everything. I think that stuff's all really cool, and it really revolutionized storytelling, and they're just old works of literature. I don't think there's a whole lot I have to say about this, but yeah, I do really want to dig into this one this year. Next up, we have the Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. At least the first volume I would like to read this year. I'm going to be honest when I say this, but I feel like I just learned about the Soviet Union maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It's something I don't think was ever touched on in my course of education. And when I eventually found out about it, I was like, how come this is something I never learned about? Because, you learn about the Holocaust in school, and that's really important to learn about, but Soviet Union kind of feels like a second Holocaust, if you will. A lot of really bad, twisted, horrible things went on during the course of its time. And so I am incredibly interested in it, and I'm going to be honest, I am so surprised I haven't already dug into this book. I bought this book before I was really reading, but I was still interested in kind of like the Soviet Union and Russia as a whole in some sense, but I just haven't read anything from the time. So I'd like to at least get through the first volume, and then we'll see from there. And then I have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I bought this because I've been wanting to get into Austen, but it was something that has kind of been on the back burner. But I actually ended up watching this movie, I think the version from 2005 or something, with my wife, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I read a lot of like heavier kind of material and books, and so I think having something like this where it's a very lighthearted and a really fun story, a really cute story, it'd be a nice like palate cleanser almost. So this one is on the list, and it's not too big either, which is kind of surprising. So yeah. We have a Child of God by Cormac McCarthy. Cormac McCarthy and Dostoevsky are authors I've tried to push off this year from reading as much as I can because I like them too much, and I'm worried I'll just keep being sucked in. And there's a lot of other things I want to explore outside of these two authors, and that's not like a knack against them. I love them. But there are 4 Cormac McCarthy books I've not read. This is one of them. And then there was The Orchard Keeper and The Passenger and Stella Maris, and then I would have read all of his novels. People say this is like, I think every work of Cormac McCarthy, people say is his greatest work. I mean, it's incredible how you can have an author who there's constant discussion on which is the best book or like the best work, and the fact that he was able to deliver so consistently with his work, where there would even be discussion about that, is just a testament to the man himself. So, Child of God. And following kind of on the Cormac McCarthy train, we have Empire of the Summer Moon. This documents the rise and fall of the Comanche Indians in America, as well as Quanah Parker, who I believe was a woman who was kidnapped by the Comanches, but then gave birth to like the highest chief in the Comanches. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read the book, but I mean, I listened to this guy. He went on Joe Rogan's podcast. Make of that what you will, but he did go on it, and I actually listened to that because I was interested in this book. But the reason I say this is kind of Cormac McCarthyan is because the Comanches are a big subject in Blood Meridian, and I've seen people say that this is an excellent book to accompany a book like Blood Meridian. And I actually just finished reading Lonesome Dove a couple weeks ago, and there's a lot of talk of Comanches in there too, so this one's probably higher up on the list than the others. Really interested to see and read about this group of people. I love this time period in America. I think it is so like interesting, but just terrible, and I don't think anything like it has ever happened before or is going to happen after. So just crazy. I tried to keep like short story books out of this because, or I guess more like collections of short stories, because those are books that I'm not going to like sit down and read back to back. I'm going to kind of dip in every now and again. And this one is with that, but I thought I'd throw it in here. And this is Notes from Underground, The Double and Other Stories by Dostoevsky. This one has The Double, White Nights, Notes from Underground, The Meek One, and The Dream of a Ridiculous Man. I more so got this for White Nights, Notes from Underground, and Dream of a Ridiculous Man. I've heard The Meek One's really good too. The Double I've heard is kind of iffy, so don't know if I will actually visit that, but I mean, I love Dostoevsky. I think it'd be cool to have read as many of his works as I can. So this is the same thing like I mentioned earlier with Cormac McCarthy, where I've just been putting it off. As much as I want to read it, I'm just kind of waiting and gonna explore other authors and genres and books and stuff. So yeah, I would probably maybe will get through this whole short story thing this year. It's cool having read all of Dostoevsky's kind of like larger works last year and then going back to his shorter stuff. It's going to be cool to see. And then we have Fear and Trembling by Soren Kierkegaard. I don't know a whole lot about this. I know a little more about Either Or, where, Kierkegaard kind of documents his leap of faith philosophy. But he's kind of the man who, I believe, gave birth to existentialist thought. And I know people like Dostoevsky were inspired by him, and I mean, a lot of other existentialist philosophers after Soren, probably have to thank this guy for his ideas and the things he put into the world. And this is like a really, really thin one, but, it's philosophy, so it's something you got to take your time with. I have not really read any. I guess Camus is technically philosophy, but I would say he's like the only philosophy I've read this year so far. So I'd like to get back into that. We have Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. The concept of this book is incredible. Hey guys, Editing Brent here. I'm in bed. And in this clip, I say concept and idea, and that kind of, to me, makes it sound like the story is fictional, when the story is not fictional. I mean, more so just in an abstract, that this is something Victor lived through and then eventually wrote about his process of overcoming that. And that is what is like crazy to me. So I don't want it to sound like I'm discounting that or saying it's made up, because I'm aware it's not. Okay, I love you. The idea of someone surviving Auschwitz, I believe. Yeah, 4 different camps, including Auschwitz. And just the recovery process after that. Again, this is another shorter work. But I've heard so many great things about this book and about just how to grow from pain and stuff. And hopefully no one of us would ever suffer something as horrific as a Holocaust or just the things that went on inside of that. But there are still things that pain us in our daily, day-to-day lives and in our relationships, and just kind of searching for meaning, figuring these things out, and just learning to live with it. You can never get enough knowledge on that. So yeah, Man's Search for Meaning. And I actually got these after I made my big books I want to read video. So might knock off Don Quixote from that list a little farther down, as much as I appreciate that work for what it has done for literature. I just am not really in the mood for it, but I got some big books to take its place. So the first one is Stalingrad by Valery Grossman, and the second one is the sequel, conclusion to Stalingrad, which is Life and Fate by Valery Grossman. So this man, these books are so fat. This man was a writer on the front lines during World War II for the Soviet Union, and he just wrote about the things he saw and how the war was going and everything, and then eventually came back and wrote these 2 massive novels. Life and Fate, I know, is like the more popular of these 2, and people will say that these are very War and Peace like a 20th century War and Peace. Some consider it the greatest 20th century work of Russian literature, specifically for this one. But I saw this one in the store, and on the back here it says the conclusion to Stalingrad. So I went home and I ordered Stalingrad, and then actually found $20, a $20 bill on a job site I was working, and the homeowner told me to keep it. So I went back to Barnes & Noble and just picked this up. But this is kind of like super piquing my interest right now. Just, again, like I mentioned earlier, the Soviet Union, but then also in some sense war. I haven't mentioned it on the channel. I kind of got obsessed with the Vietnam War, just kind of learning things about that, and it's crazy. And so, World War II is kind of like every guy, I think, has like a World War II phase, and certainly I probably went through one a little bit. I'm not going to go through one now, but I am interested in these works. You go into any bookstore and you look in the history section, there's always like an old guy there, probably wearing like a leather jacket, like a really cool hat, just an old dude bent over, looking at the World War II books, or looking at the war books. I don't want to say like I'm manifesting that, but I could 100% see that being me in the future. So I guess I will start early, But yeah, these are two that I'm very excited to read. But being the fact that I just got them, or probably put them off for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, jeez, it's so good. Man, book by book, or not book by book, leaf by leaf, has videos talking about big books that he likes, and certainly the books he reads probably a little more sophisticated than mine. But I love just this fat books, I love seeing them, I love reading them, I love holding them. I just feel like, sorry, a little ranting here. I used to feel like a 500 to 600 page book was like the best length for a book, but now I'm starting to kind of question that, and maybe like 750 to 900 pages is like a very solid length for a book. And maybe it's just now, but yeah, I just kind of love the roller coaster you go through with a big book, where it starts off and you're kind of flying by, and then there's always like a little slump in the middle. And then it's not that it's like it gets boring, it's just it is a work of discipline, and it's a task. And when I read a big book, I don't read anything else in the course, just so I can kind of focus everything on the story. And so I always feel really good too after you finish reading them. It's the best kind of accomplishment is reading and understanding and deeply reading like a fat book, So yeah. Beloved, thank you. I thought I'd just, like I mentioned earlier, come on here just to talk just to talk, it's my channel. I haven't uploaded a video in a month, so thank you all for the support. I have like over 200 subscribers now, which is crazy. So yeah, thank you. I love you. I hope you are blessed as we go into Monday from the date this is going to be uploaded. I'm going to upload it immediately after. And yeah. I love you. Keep reading books. Let me know in the comments if you have read these books, if you would recommend them, and I guess just your thoughts on them. Obviously, don't spoil anything for me, but yeah, okay, cool. I love you.